I don't know about you, but sometimes I'm just not content with a horror movie being just good. I want it to be legitimately scary. I want to be regretting my decision when 2 a.m. rolls around and I still haven't got a wink of sleep. Well, I've combed the depths of Netflix and found what I think are the 5 scariest movies you can possibly find on Netflix right now. A little something to hopefully get everyone's Halloween season started right. Let's get started with number 5. Number 5, Hereditary. I'm sure nearly everyone's familiar with Hereditary by now. If you're not, you're missing one of those home run movies that's not only a good movie, but also genuinely scary. The story is about a really dysfunctional family that happens to be having a lot of weird and tragic occurrences going on around them lately. This movie is relentless in its dark tone, and at no time does it ever really let you feel like you can relax. It builds and builds a nearly unbearable tension that crescendos in a jaw-dropping and completely terrifying final act. Yes, I know I said I wasn't looking for good movies, but if you do want to see a movie that's good and scary as hell, don't miss this modern horror masterpiece.
Scarlet!
Wait.
Number 4, As Above, So Below. Now, this is a movie that fits perfectly into the it's not a great movie, but it's definitely scary category. As Above, So Below takes the found footage genre down into the catacombs of Paris. It was pretty much universally panned by critics, but has found a sizable cult following amongst horror fans throughout the years. I, for one, really enjoyed it. The catacombs are a perfect place for some fantastic horror visuals, and there are some genuinely creepy moments, especially towards the end. If you haven't seen it, I definitely urge you to check it out, as you might just be missing one of the most underrated scary movies on Netflix. Number 3, Shudder. This is the movie that probably took a couple years off my life. When someone asks me what's the scariest movie I've ever seen, this is one of the first things that pops into my mind. I watched this late one night with my wife, and we are still talking about it years later. This Thai horror classic is a true hidden gem. Now, it is a bit cliche in that it's a long hair, wide dressed, Asian style horror movie that we've seen countless times before. But for me and a lot of other horror fans, this is the movie that did it best. It's unquestionably one of the scariest movies of the last couple of decades. You really should only attempt to watch this movie alone if you have balls made of iron. Before we get into the top 2, don't forget to hit the subscribe button down below. It's totally free and you'll get weekly Netflix recommendations in every genre imaginable. Thank you so much, and on to number 2.
Things there, it's fine. Okay, run, go back.
Number 2, Host. Shot and released during the COVID-19 quarantine, Host proves once again that you don't need a big budget to make a great horror flick. The movie is only an hour long and really doesn't waste any time getting to the good stuff. The premise: 6 friends perform a seance over a Zoom call and awaken some pretty angry spirits. It's hard not to be impressed over how seemingly simple it is to make a terrifying movie. And yes, this movie is terrifying. It's a concept that honestly seems like it shouldn't have worked, but it did, and it's undoubtedly one of the scariest movies released in years. Number 1, Sinister. There was a 2020 study by Broadband Choices that tried to determine the scariest movie ever made by testing viewers' heart rates while watching various horror movies. Well, guess what got number 1? That's right, Sinister. Sinister raised viewers' resting heart rates by an average of 32%. Anyone who's seen it will no doubt remember being hypnotized by those disturbing snuff films with the creepy music, and you honestly just couldn't look away from them. And just for the record, the 2021 version of that study put Host at number 1, and Hereditary was in the top 5. So anyone who says there's no scary movies on Netflix, you're just not looking hard enough. Are you unable to find some of the movies on this list? Well, you're probably in the wrong region, but if you watch this next video, I'll show you how you can switch regions on Netflix and get access to every movie on this list. Thank you so much, everybody. See you soon.